I lived in a small town in Michigan. It was surrounded by the woods. And often us boys played with cops and robbers and all kinds of games. And we had a lot of fun. But I was afraid of bears. But not so much in a group, because if a bear would attack the group, you didn't have to outrun the bear, you had to outrun the slowest runner. So while the bear was taking care of the slowest runner, the rest of us would run into victory with the thunderous applause of our mothers and fathers. Or we had just been escaped from the jaws of defeat. And, I was really afraid of bears when I was alone. It was a constant fear. For I knew if a bear attacked me, I would not have long to live, especially if he ate me. One time, a friend of mine and my friend were walking near the railroad tracks outside of town. There was woods on either side. His friend's nickname was Diggy, and Bob Germano knows who Diggy is. It's funny, some of the nicknames we had back then. I never knew some of the people by their real names, I just knew by their nicknames. Try this for a nickname: Onion Eye, Diaper Pail, Heartless, and many more. There was a brochure printed in our hometown that listed all these nicknames. I had a nickname that I didn't like at first. It was a girl's name, Molly. But the next one was a little bit better. It was Mars. You know, I forgot where I'm going from here. Oh, anyway, this boy and I were walking along the railroad tracks, and we came to an edge of a field, and there looking at us was a bear, staring at us. For a long time, that bear just looked at us. The bear, of course, can't express his feelings or saying. I would think that he was saying, "Yummy, yummy, on my tummy." Anyway, I had a rifle. I was told it was a .22 rifle, which is not very powerful. Powerful enough to kill a deer, as a friend of mine up the street once did. But if you were to shoot an animal in the bone, for example, it would just bounce off, probably, I don't know. So as I raised this rifle, I was going to shoot that bear right between the eyes. So as I was ready to aim and shoot, my friend says, don't shoot, that's a horse." It actually was a horse. So just think of what would have happened if I shot that horse. Then it would have been a horse race. Horse and the farmer and us two boys. And as us two Finnish boys finished last, waiting for us would be the farmer with a pitchfork and a cop with a shotgun and handcuffs. Anyway, that's number one. Number two took place when we were over. There are many bow hunters in this audience. I've hunted with many of them over the years. We've had lots and lots of fun. One of them sitting right there is my favorite partner, Bob Greenroth. Thank you, Bob, for all those pleasant memories. You're welcome. And I would like to introduce both of you first. When I was a young boy, there was no such a sport, as far as I was concerned, as bow hunting. It was an unknown sport. I was 27 years old before I ever held a bow in my hands. Today, young boys at 12 years old, 13, have already shot deer with a bow. But I will tell you the three rapid-fire stories before I come to the bear story. First time I was hunting in 1959 in St. Croix Park, a deer came and ran here to the wall, stopped broadside. Well, this deer hunting is easy. I'll nail that deer right now. I shot, and my arrow was stuck in the ground at my feet. I held on to the arrow. So that was my first experience with hunting deer. But then another time I was hunting with a group of fellows at Mille Lacs. On the eastern edge of Mille Lacs was an area that's called deer country, or deer strip actually. It was just loaded and loaded with deer. So Don and I, after coffee lunch, walked together, and then he went to the right, and I went to the left. And the next 3 hours, he saw 45 deer. He had 7 arrows, and he missed 7 shots. I told you. Don Wallen. And I had a different experience. I went to the left. And when I get to a barbed wire fence, I get kind of excited. My wife knows how excited I get sometimes. I got my string tangled in the barbed wire. And it almost tore it complete. And for the first time in my life, I hoped that I wouldn't see a deer. And as soon as I got done hoping, here comes a buck. I couldn't shoot, I was done for the day. And then the third quick bow hunting trip, John and I were in Wisconsin. We often hunted in Wisconsin, around Grantsbury. Sometimes bow hunters climb a tree, sometimes they set up a stand or step on a branch, and I sat on a branch, crash, I was on the ground. I saw stars. It seemed like I saw the moon and the sun too. But now we come to the bears. A bunch of us fellows were hunting in Wisconsin, and it was getting near the end of the day. So John and I were walking out of the woods, and lo and behold, coming right straight at us was a bear. It was not a horse. It was a mother bear with 2 cubs. So we turned around and started running as fast as we could. When we were in our prime, we were not the slowest runners on earth. But then we heard the noise of a car. And as we were running, the bears got scared. And they shot right by us. A little on the angle, but the same general direction. So I was talking to a famous bear hunter by the name of Randy Kiernan a few minutes ago. And I told him we could have stood our ground, and that bear would have flinched before we flinched. It would have ran away before we ran away. He kind of agreed with me. However, you have to avoid situations when he's protecting his young ones, or if you have food around the tent. But there are 4 bears that I know of that you wouldn't want to challenge. A grizzly bear, a brown bear, Kodiak bear, and a polar bear. And now with my vast experience in bears, I'm not afraid of a black bear. And the 6th bear I'm not afraid of is a teddy bear. I don't know what to say next. I'll continue, but I need a break.
What a goose.
We're sitting on the front benches, Paul Carnegie. We grew up in the same town. And and we grew up during the Depression. Nowadays, a lot of people are unemployed. The rate is 8.2%. So for every 100 million workers, 8.2 million are unemployed. During that Great Depression, nationwide in the 30s, the unemployment rate was roughly 30%. 30 million out of 100 million were unemployed. I talked to Paul a couple of days ago, and he said the unemployment rate in our county was 65%. 2 out of 3 people were unemployed. And those who worked, say it was 35 cents an hour. I don't want to work for 35 cents an hour. There's 100 people who gladly work for 35 cents. If they drop the rate to 30 cents, I don't want to work for 30 cents. There'll be another 100 guys looking for it. But I suppose you couldn't go down to a penny per hour, because who would want to work for a penny an hour? My son Don, he stole some of my thunder. I didn't like that. The person has only so much to say, and then he says what I was going to say. What am I going to say? Anyway, by the time I graduated from high school, I made $10. $6 for playing baseball, and $4 for working. One year, I had a good year. I made 10 cents. $8, 8 cents for picking strawberries, and a 2-cent bonus. Just think that 10 cents a year would take 100 years to make $10. But a penny in those days was worth a lot of money. I once had a penny. I either found it or my mother gave it to me, and I went to the neighboring store early in the morning to buy a penny's worth of candy. The owner of the store, and Paul knows him, the owner of Little Joe's, was a crab. I mean, he had a temper. And he lived upstairs, his door was downstairs, and early in the morning, I'm sure he could have easily been sleeping, and I knocked on the door. Later he came in. What do you want? I said, I want a penny's worth of candy. Get out of here, go home. But then I had the penny, and it was safe in my pocket, resting there in peace. Another time, I went fishing close by. There was a pond up close, but it had a lot of fish. It had so many fish that we could catch many fish in a short period of time. In fact, we had a contest, my boy and I, how many fish we could catch in a minute. We timed ourselves. In 1 minute, we each caught 2 fish, and sometimes 3. But the neighboring cat also was looking for a free meal. One time he grabbed my fish, and the hook got caught in his mouth. Off he went with the fish and my fishing pole. I never did get that fishing pole back. I was too ashamed to go to the neighbors and say, your cat stole my fish. You also stole my fishing pole. Gary, I need some help. I still got one. When we planned this program, I didn't want any stories told about me because it would be embarrassing. I would red in the face, I would flush, and I would go home and start crying. And then I wouldn't be able to sleep. And then when I fall asleep, I would have nightmares. And then I would also, I think I got my stories all mixed up. And my tears would be, my pillow would be wet with tears. I'm sure I got my stories all mixed up.